I made it up to Siler Bald shelter. No ghosties this time, so that was really good. Um, it's the afternoon. I'm eating dinner early so I can just read some books in bed from the Kindle. I'm not carrying a ton of books, not physically, just digitally. But I made it up here, and I'm all alone, which is nice and peaceful. So it shouldn't be too cold tonight, maybe like 40. So that's great. And I have the shelter to myself so far. But I made it past that place, and all is well.
Grab something hot to drink. I was ready for a picture.
She's gonna.
I got a plate.
I was gonna pose.
Yeah. Coming off plate.
How's this pose? Now this one. Let me try a third.
These come off pretty quick. Okay, here we go. Here we go.
Got tortillas,
Yeah.
eggs,
Yep.
potatoes, onions, bacons.
Picante.
I was like, nope, I got one for the client. Repetitive. You need to make sure that your drawer shuts because if your drawer doesn't shut,
Okay, so I made it up Siler. I think there's a little video of that. No ghosts. There was a weird, like I couldn't breathe, and not like I'm out of shape, can't breathe, because that's like all the time up a hill, but like a really heaviness. And I was like, no, I'm getting up this hill. And it was only for a few minutes, sporadically. And like I said, it wasn't out of breath, because that was different. That's all the time, because I'm out of shape. So I made it to Siler. I was in the shelter by myself. Nobody was there, but I was awake off and on through the night, waiting to see if bears were coming or mice were coming in the shelter, or like a ghost was coming. But I slept good enough. And then I made it the next day to Wai'a Shelter, which is like 7-ish miles. And there was just Gray Fox there, a guy, Gray Fox, the hiker. And he and I set up in the shelter. Then a bunch of people swung by, Hope and Eliza, Jorge, Thunder with his dog Stormy, and Big Man, and Domino. And so there was like a lot of people, but Fox and I were the only ones in the shelter. And he, shockingly, because he's like, I don't know, a little under 6 feet, skinny, in shape, athletic, snored and shook the whole shelter. And so all night long, I slept maybe an hour. And I kept waiting, like, is there a moment where I can fall asleep? And there was never that moment. And my headphones that have white noise were like way at the bottom of my pack that's hung on the wall. And I was just like, I don't know that I can dig through all that right now. Probably should have. That probably would have made a difference. But anyway, slept maybe an hour, contacted Ramblin' Roots Hostel, which is where I presently am sitting. This beautiful fireplace behind me. Artwork, there's the trail, and really cool artwork. Anyway, I'm at this hostel. So I had texted her on my Garmin because I can use the satellite. And I said, hey, could you meet me at Tellico Gap tomorrow morning or tomorrow afternoon? And I'm still not sure of my mileage per time because last year I was so hurt. It was about an hour 15 per mile. And this year, I'm a lot faster than that. I mean, not fast, but a lot faster than that. And so I said I'd probably be there between 2 and 3. Wasn't sure. She said 2-ish. So I got up around 6. Jorge was leaving the trail, and it was 8.5 miles I needed to go to get to Tellico Gap. And I started hiking. The girls started way after me, quickly passed me, which was great. And I was just like, hey, because I'd stopped to pee, and they said, hey. And then I kept going, and they're at this Burnside Gap or something like that. And they said, Fresh Grounds is coming. He texted us, and he should be here in about 10 minutes. And Fresh Grounds, there is a video and maybe a picture. He lives in his van like 8 months of the year, works on donations. I mean, this guy has a setup. So like he had propane tanks everywhere, our fire pit. He's frying potatoes, frying eggs, frying bacon, made breakfast burritos. They were amazing. So I stuck around for like an hour and a half. And then it's like 11 o'clock and I still had like 5 miles to go. I think, was it 5, 4, something. And I was like, I've only got 3 hours to do these like, whatever, 4 or 5 miles. But I'm never going to make it because it's going to take me 5 hours to do it because in my head I'm still back last year where I do a mile an hour. And the climb up out of Burnside, I was like, one thing about not starting in Georgia or staying in Georgia is that Georgia has 4,000 foot elevation climbs. North Carolina has 5s. And so going from like, again, couch to AT, but without the benefit of training on the 4,000s, just hitting these 5,000s has been tough. And I'm huffing and puffing up the hill. And here's these people that have been on trail for a week longer than I have, or a little more than. But they're coming huffing and puffing up the hill and said, it's really tough. And I was like, okay, I feel a little better. Like, I know I'm out of breath and out of shape, but I also know if you've been doing this since Georgia and this still is a tough climb for you, then that makes me feel a little better. So anyway, I made it. She texted me, asked if Gadget could share the shuttle, and I was like, sure. Haven't seen Gadget, but whatever. So I'm like coming down the trail, and I hear this guy running behind me, and I turn around, and I was like, hey, are you Gadget? He said, how do you know my name? I said, because she asked about sharing shuttle. So I introduced myself, and he kept running, but a little bit slower. I don't understand trail runs. First of all, I don't really understand hikers. I guess right now, technically, I am one, but these people that just love to get outside and like go on mountains and hills and like in the woods, they're crazy in the best of ways, but it's just, wow. When I think about how I want to spend my time, obviously I'm spending it doing this trail, and maybe I'll find a love for it somewhere along the way. But right now I'm just like, man, I'm outside. It's cold. It's hot. I'm sweating. So anyway, Gadget runs past, but he slows down a little bit. He's like, oh, make sure we wait. I was thinking, I hope so. It's my shuttle. You're sharing it. But anyway, I made it down there at 2:15, which was my goal. So I started at 7:15 and I made it there at 2:15 with like an hour and a half break in the middle. So I think that's pretty good for mileage. So I'm taking a 0 today, which means 0 miles hiked. I did 8.5 miles yesterday, which was my most, and it was a lot of like super steep downhill into Tellico Gap. Now, between Tellico Gap and Knock, or Natanhela Outdoor Center, last year when I said that I had skipped those 2 mountains and started my last bit, I started at Tellico Gap. So I feel like, okay, I got to Tellico Gap. I've already done that 8 or so miles down, so that now I'm like caught up, done all the miles that I need to do to get to this point. Now, out of the Knock or the NOC, the climb up is just like a sustained climb for about 7 miles. And with as huffy puffy as I am, that seems like a lot. That seems like it would take me like 16 years to get to the shelter that's 7 miles up. Because I'm thinking I could do 7 miles, but 7 miles sustained, just constant climbing. Where when I'm climbing up a hill right now, I can make it so far and then I stop and I like breathe for 5 seconds or stretch my back and then I keep going. So it's like a fits and starts up the hill. And when it's just like, 1,000 or 2,000 foot climb or whatever, and then a little bit of sawtooth or ups and downs, that's okay. But 7 miles of just up seems like a lot. And I asked around and they said it's not very steep. It's just like this gradual always climb. So my plan now is I spent last night in this beautiful room, Rambling Roots Hostel. Highly recommend, in Bryson City, right up the street from the Knock. So if you are in this area for any reason, Rambling Roots, Bookie is amazing, super helpful. So I spent the night last night. I'm just kind of resting today. We're gonna get my food situated, go resupply. She's gonna give me some advice and all of that. She through hiked, I think 2015, 2016, somewhere around there. Get that all situated. I'll probably go down to the NOC, have a hamburger, and just look around, see if there's any like gear I want to switch out or that's prettier or whatever. And then tomorrow morning I'll get up and she's gonna shuttle me up to Stokoa Gap. Now from Stokoa Gap, coming south to the NOC, you have that gradual descent for 7 miles, but it's a 13 or 14 mile hike. So at first I was gonna think about slack packing, which means that I would leave most of my gear here and just carry like food and water filter, bathroom kit, and then just do the 14 miles. But I don't feel like my body is up for a 14-mile hike yet. And that's okay, but I'm just trying to listen to it. So I'm going to do a half pack, meaning she's going to drop me off at Stokoa. I'm going to hike like 7-ish miles to the shelter, spend the night at the shelter or around the shelter. And then the next day, hike back down to the NOC. She'll pick me up. I'll spend one more night. Probably shower. They do your laundry. I'm in loaner clothes. These are not mine. And then she'll shuttle me back to Stokoa Gap, and I'll just start heading north towards Fontana Dam. And once I get to Fontana Dam is the Smokies, which I'm actually anxious about because you have like 8 days to get through it. You have to stay at the shelters. There's only one spot in the middle where you can resupply at Newfound Gap. And so to me, I'm just like, can I make it? Is it going to be okay? Can I do like 10-mile days? Am I ready for it? And I feel like by the time I do these hikes and then Stokoa to Fontana Dam, that sounded like I was trying to cuss at y'all, but I wasn't, I promise. That I'm not having trail legs probably till through the Smokies, maybe into Virginia. Trail legs means you can just like consistently do good miles, double digits. I'm not there. I'm still huffing and puffing, but I'm getting in shape. So I feel like once I'm through the Smokies, it'll be good. But so between Fontana Dam and whatever it is, the Little Pigeon River Bridge, when you're out of the Smokies, that just gives me a little bit of anxiety because it just feels like pressure. And but I was looking at it and it looks like there's like a really big climb up into the Smokies, which here there's like 5,300, there's like 5,600. So it's not much different than what I've been doing, but it's like a big climb up, a bunch of PUDs or pointless ups and downs, just sawtooth, and then a big climb out of the Smokies. So that made me feel a little bit better. We'll see how it goes, but I'm doing okay. My feet are doing good. They're sore, like, hey, I'm sore. And I did get a blister because I had the wrong socks on yesterday. I have my sleeping socks that are thinner, and I was doing a lot of down, like literally downhill. So I'll fix that blister up today, and then I'll just keep going. So anyway, hope y'all are doing well. It seems like there's a lot of stuff happening in the world that maybe isn't so great, but there's always great stuff happening in the world. So look for that, and I will talk to you soon. Okay, one last little note. I'm in my room at the hostel, and in my bed, which is nice. But there's a question of like, why isn't there music at the beginning with the photos and the videos and things? You saw today, like kind of walking through the green tunnel a little bit, and you just hear the swish of my pants. I didn't have my trekking poles in the ground, so a lot of times it's like the banging of trekking poles on the rocks or them like going in the ground. But that's the soundtrack that I have. It's mostly like silent besides like me stumbling through or having, swishing pants or whatever. So I thought, I'll leave the silence there for the pictures and the videos that you see, so you get a little taste of contemplating nature while you're looking at it, because that's really kind of what it's like. Every once in a while you hear a squirrel or a mouse or some kind of rodent like shuffling through the leaves, and some really cool birds. There's a bird out there that sounds like what I think a yeti would sound like. It's almost like the noise that maybe a gibbon makes, like those apes or whatever, like a really throaty, weird, otherworldly sound. And I'm pretty sure it's a bird and not a yeti. If it is a yeti, like, I'd love to see it just to say hey, maybe sit down, have a cup of tea with a yeti. But I don't really think they exist, though I would love to think that they do. I mean, there's all kinds of otherworldly creatures. We know that I ran into one. I would rather it have been a yeti. I think as long as they're not, I don't know what yetis do. Are they violent? Do they like attack humans, or do they just like hang out and hide? I don't know. But tea with a yeti sounds like a fun adventure. But anyway, this is a really long way of saying that the reason there's no music is on purpose, and not because I can't figure out how to put music there, which is also true. And I probably could figure it out. I'm just not going to, and I don't want to. So like if you don't care about that, you can always like scroll at the bottom and just kind of fast forward and look at pictures really quick, like a super fast slideshow back in the day with those little carousels that were like ching ching ching, that certain more experienced generations may remember. These younger ones have no clue. But yeah, so that's why there's no music. I'm gonna sleep tonight, get up super early, and go to Sequoia Gap and keep hiking. And so now tomorrow I'll be further than I've ever been, and it feels real this time. Like last year, for some reason, it felt like I wasn't gonna be gone for very long, and then I wasn't. This time it feels really real, like I'm gonna be gone for some months, that I'm gonna actually get this thing done. And that is a really good feeling, because I don't want to attempt this again. I just want to be done with it. And I'm hoping as these go along, like I said, I'll find a love for outside. I'll find a love for the trail. Excuse me. I'll find whatever it is that little me needs to heal. Like, what was it when I was 13? What was it inside me that knew that 49-year-old me would need to come do this thing? What am I out here to learn? What am I out here to experience? And when it's just me and Jesus, just walking every day and meeting people, it's an experience. I can't say that I love it yet. Hopefully I can soon. But I can say that there have been quite enjoyable moments. And there's been some tough stuff, just the physical, I think, more than the mental. I know the mental will come because it's just miles and miles and miles. And I think I was calling it trudgery the other day, like trudging through drudgery. So there's been some trudgery, especially up these hills. And I think I said this before, but I don't call them mountains, because a mountain seems really big and the hill seems really doable. So even when I'm looking, I'm at the bottom of, I'm at a gap or something, and I look up and I see this huge like climb. I just think, okay, I gotta get to the top of this hill. And in my head, that makes it feel so much better. Like, it's just a hill. I can do this, right? Get up that hill. And then I get up to the top of the hill, or almost. There's always like a false summit where you're like, yes, I'm at the top. And then you go around a curve and you're like, just kidding. There's more up. And that's going to be, I feel like, the rest of the trail. It's just going to always be up. I feel like in life, we have to do some trudgery. You know, there's always some hard thing coming up or that we just got through. And I forget, because I have a tendency to be impatient with people because people aren't like me. And I'm like, you're not like me, so obviously I need to judge you and be angry or upset or impatient, which is a terrible thing, but that's what I do. So I feel like there's a lot of treachery in life, and we just have to do it. But then you can get to the top and there's these beautiful views, and I've noticed like I don't want to fall, and so I'm staring down at the ground a lot because there's a lot of roots and a lot of rocks. And so in order to get to where I'm going without falling on my face, I'm staring down a lot, and I have to force myself. And that's kind of one of the things about the huffing and puffing up the hill. When I stop, I look around and I'm like, oh, there's these mountains, there's these Smoky Mountains. Look at that bird flying. And I see these things, but if I'm so focused on not falling and so focused on breathing and surviving going up a hill, I miss the beauty that is out here. And maybe that's why people love it out here, because it is beautiful. But also, I'm like, I could watch somebody's video or picture and see this beauty, and I'd just be as happy, and I wouldn't have all the trudgery. But yeah, so as we're all trudging through life, let's find the beauty, and remember, because I'm gonna try to remember, and I'm really bad at it and impatient, and I'm not trying to be some like new age guru to give you advice, because I'm the last person to give advice to somebody. Like maybe if there's like a new diagnosed cancer family or something, I can help give some hope or point them in the right direction. Or like there's a girl here who was in EMT class, and I'm a paramedic, and so I was kind of giving her some pointers. But like, I'm not here to give life advice. I'm here to like tell you how much of a screw up I am, and try to be as honest as I can with myself, and this is keeping me honest. But all that to say, like, I fail at this, but I'm trying to remember, like, someone's just coming through a hard time, or is in the middle of a hard time, or is about to go through a hard time. And so we're all in these like transition phases. And so those of us who've just been through and have the relief and kind of hope that it's over, maybe can turn around and look at the ones that are in it and give them hope that, you know, there is an end to the suffering. An acquaintance of mine just died last weekend from cancer, and that's like, you know, just a tough thing, because you're out here, you can't really give too much support from afar. But yeah, so like life continues, and there's like stuff going on with like war, and there's always wars in the world, but now it's like we're involved, and so it's important now because we're involved. But when other people are at war, it doesn't matter, which is such a stupid way to look at things. But with it, I'm very, you know, I tend to be self-centered, country-centered. Like, I live here, so that's the one I care about more. So anyway, there's a lot going on, and it's kind of nice to not know really what's going on and just kind of grab a couple headlines when I come into town and have service. But yeah, I'm gonna try to be more patient with myself and more patient with people, because like I said, I tend to think if people don't think or act like me, that there's something wrong with them. I don't know if y'all are like that, or if that's just a me thing, but but I'm going to try to be more understanding of like, I know there's a lot of different people. I'm friends with so many different people from so many walks of life, and political and religious and all the extremes on all the sides and in the middle. But when it comes down to it, like my thoughts are, duh, just do it like I would do it and you'd be fine. Which I still think is pretty accurate because I can be prideful. But I think we're all that way. Like, why doesn't everyone think like us? But I feel like if everyone was like me, this world would have blown up a long time ago, because I'm probably not the best example of how to live life. I try, but fail. I like to say I fail gloriously through life. So anyway, long rambling story. These are from yawning. I'm not crying on camera. I've already told you I wouldn't. So I will post this post dated. Like I said, I'm trying to not put my real time location, because there are creepers out there. I don't think y'all are the creepers, but they exist, and I don't want people to know exactly where I am when I'm there. I would like them to know where I was, but not where I am or soon to be going. So anyway, thank you for putting up with my ramblings, and I will get to the first promise that I kept. I'll have to trigger warning child abuse on that one, but right now I think this is enough. So y'all take care.